Yo, what's up guys, it's Tunes here with a new review on the InfinityPads by InfinityMice. They recently sent me out 4 of their new pads to try out and test and make a review on, and I will happily say I was very pleased with this offer, and so far my experience is amazing with these 4 pads. I just really want to get into the price and the size of the pads first and the different surfaces they offer. So let's get into that, which is the XL comes in at 490 by 420. Then the XL Square comes in at 490 by 490, which is 2 great sizes and they're very popular in the market right now. So if you really want a square pad that goes deeper vertically or just a normal size pad that is similar to the Artisan or the Saturn pads from Lethal, it's really just a great option, depends on your preference. But let's get into the surfaces, which is Control, Hybrid, and Speed. And then the Vagabond surface, which is more of a smooth hybrid type of pad, similar to the First War. It's a very generic type of feeling pad, but it's a great safe option for most people. And for the price tags of XL, which comes in at $35, or the XL Square, which comes in at $40, is a fantastic price for the quality you're getting here. So that's basically the introduction for these pads. They're fantastic, but let's get right into the review on the specs and my experience with them. So I first really wanted to talk about the surfaces of these pads because that's the main selling point of these mouse pads, I would say. Having the 4 different options for 4 different types of preferences is amazing. So first, let's talk about the Vagabond. The Vagabond is a very smooth, jagged type of weave. It's very similar to a First War or Memento. So it's going to be a very generic feeling pad. And if you never used a hybrid pad like this, you can expect a very smooth experience for a textured feeling pad. So you're still going to feel the texture, and having the ability to stop whenever you want is very important, and this pad definitely offers that while keeping some speed. So it's going to be a very middle ground of pads where something you don't want a lot of speed, but you don't want a lot of control, something very balanced where you could use in any single game. This surface is going to be perfect for you. So this was my second favorite pad out of the lineup. The speed one is being my first, a little spoiler right there. But this is just a very good pad that I can swap to any game and perform at my highest level. So this is why this is one of my favorite surfaces they have right now. So this is going to be one of my top recommendations if you're wanting a overall great pad, a pad that's going to last a long time to its surface. It's just going to be a fantastic option. So now let's get into the Speedpad, which is my favorite version of all of their new 4 pads. It's very unique, but it's very consistent with the Raiden. It seems like they just sent the Raiden to the factory. Hey, copy this as much as you can, send it back to me, and boom, it's finished. And that's exactly what it felt like. But once again, it's lacking in the Japanese quality with the surface choice. It's not nearly the same, but has the same aspects, and it's definitely inspired from the Raiden. But I will say, I believe it's a better Raiden, considering I believe the surface will last longer in durability. It's a lot faster and consistent than the Raiden, because my Raiden slowed down very fast and turned into a balance pad rather than a speed pad. This thing is not slowing down, it's staying a speed pad, at least after the month or so I've been using it. Over time, it will slow down, but that's the normal basis of cloth pads. But it does seem like there's no innovation with this surface, truthfully, but it's definitely the best option for a Raiden alternative and overall a better Raiden. So I just love the fact that they did this, and I'm just appreciative that there's another true Raiden alternative that is on the market right now, and in my case is better. I will say it's a very low initial friction pad, and it's a very low dynamic pad. It's one of the fastest cloth pads I've actually used, which is awesome. So if you're like, glass is too fast, but I really want a fast cloth option, this is going to be a great pad for you. And this pad's really going to shine in games like Fortnite or Apex or really fast-paced games like Overwatch. But for shooters like CSGO or Valorant, you might want something slower, but I perform great in every single game I play with this pad, especially in Fortnite. But this is a great option if you want a speed pad and something that's similar to the Artisan Raiden, but not for the big price tag of $60 from Artisan. And this is only for $35, so quite amazing for what you're getting here. And this is my favorite surface out of all the surfaces they're offering with their new lineup. And I would definitely recommend this for all speed users. I did have an issue with the speed one though. The sides don't lay fully flat out of box, but apparently the manufacturer knows this and hopefully the issue will be fixed on the final units. But that is one big issue of this pad. And I will say the surface is very loud, if that makes sense. It's very scratchy sounding. So if you don't really have headphones on, it might bother you, but that's similar to what like a glass pad sounds like. Even the Raiden has the same sound signature, but this is more noticeable and just more loud, I would say. But that just shows that how close they got to the Raiden is based on the sound signature of the Surface. So it's quite impressive once again, but I just really want to warn you guys, you might want to use headphones when using this. But if the sound doesn't bother you, then there you go, should be perfect for you. Now let's get into the hybrid pad. This is my least favorite Surface out of all of them, and I don't really know why, but I do have some prospects on why I think this is not my favorite pad. First of all, it's very abrasive, but the speed of the pad isn't that fast. It's like they said, it's a hybrid, so it's a good balance between control and speed, but it's so abrasive, it's just kind of like, what's the point of having a super abrasive pad if the speed is not going to be there? I just really don't recommend the Surface. And I could just be freaking out and it could just be a personal thing, but I swear the red dye does affect my skin, and over time it feels a bit sticky, and it's not really noticeable on the speed pad, but it's really noticeable on the hybrid and the control pad. After a while though, you kind of get used to it, and I asked many reviewers and it's just a personal thing apparently, because they don't see that issue. So once again, I would just like to put that out there. Maybe it's the red dye messing with my brain, but this hybrid pad is just not for me. I will say the texture is similar to something like the Heian or the Freefall pad, but it's a bit slower, so it's just, in my opinion, not really superior to those pads. And this was just hard for me to use for a long period of time because my skin would be agitated from the abrasiveness, and mostly to the red dye being just a weird feeling on my skin, and I can't really understand why. I will say other red pads like the red Saturn, I've also had similar issues to the dye, but once again with the speed pad, there's not really a big issue for me on that. So I truthfully don't know. The control pad, I also have the same issue, and I'll talk about that a little bit more when I talk about the control pad. But maybe my recommendation, if there's no reports on this and it's just me, ignore it, ignore me, but I would recommend just using dye sub of a red color instead of dyeing this from the fabric company, because I swear this red dye is tripping me out. I don't know what's happening, but I think that's the main reason why I don't like this texture, because I usually do like very abrasive textures if the speed is there and if it's natural feeling, and this pad just does not do it for me. But this once again might just be me, a personal issue, but I do have to review what I believe is the issue and what is not my preference. So speaking from a normal standard review or point, this pad is going to be more of a very abrasive type of pad. So someone that's wanting a balanced type of feel but a lot of texture to their pad, this may be a decent option for you. But I would just recommend like a Heian or a Venus or other textured pads that are already existing on the market. So now let's get into the control pad. This pad is on the slower end of control, so it's going to be slower than the Saturn Pro, about the same speed of the Temple of Dreams or even slower than that, maybe near the GSR realm of slowness. So it's going to be more of like a muddy type of pad, and I'm scared to say that word muddy, but it's significantly true because the Surface has a very fuzzy feeling type of fabric, and it's a mesh type of fabric to my understanding what it looks like. And it kind of just makes it feel muddy experience, very tuggish on the skin itself. On the feet, it's a very slow experience too, very tuggish on static movements, and initial friction is very high. And overall, just a slow pad. So this is going to be a great pad for someone wanting a full control, full locked in experience, especially for games like CSGO or Valorant, and you just want a locked in experience and like, dang, all these pads on the market are way too fast. I need something super controlled, and this one is going to be the pad for you. But in my opinion, for my preference, it's just way too slow, too much tuggish on the skin. And once again, the fuzzy feeling really brings out the red dye issue on my preference. But once again, that could just be a personal thing, and I would not consider not buying these pads because of that issue of mine. But once again, just too slow of a pad. I really hope they make a different version that's super, like slightly faster, or just make a dye sub version which will increase the speed a little bit, smooth out the texture a little bit, and make it overall a better experience for most of the consumers. But I just appreciate that they have a control option. Once again, having 3 different or 4 different type of surfaces is amazing, and this is just not my preference, and that's going to be how it is. Everyone has their preference, so just take that as a grain of salt and don't like slander this pad because I said that. Just really up to your preference and what you want into a mouse pad. So once again, slow pad, fuzzy texture, soft on the skin, very slow controlled pad. And if that's what you want, this pad is going to be great for you. So now, since we talked about all the surface options and which ones I like and which ones I don't like, let's get into the quality of the pen. And the quality, I mean by the stitching and the base. So the stitching is very low. It's very on par to the Saturn Pro. The Artisan is fantastic, especially for the price point of $35 and $40. That's pretty much all I can say about the stitching. The stitching looks like it ends in the top left, which is very good. I do prefer when companies in their stitching in like the corners of the pad somewhere. It really hides the big bump in the stitching. But once again, it's a very slim and it's clean stitching, so we can't really complain too much. The durability wise, I believe it'll last long. Good as Artisan? I don't know, but it's close enough where you won't feel it on your forearm when you're playing, which is a big factor for me. And it's fantastic that we've gone this far with stitching. Now let's get into the base, which this base I love. It's a PU blend, which is one of my favorite type of bases, and it has their custom embossed logo into the base, which is molded at the factory, which is a great benefit of being unique, kind of have your own identity to the base. The base itself isn't the most unique base, but it's cool that they have their own brand on their base. It's more of a soft to extra soft type of base. It's 3.5 millimeters thick, so it kind of gives off the soft feel since it's thinner, but I believe it's the perfect foam density for my preference since I do like softer pads. But if you are a mid user, this might be a little bit too soft for you, but it should be fine considering the thickness of the pad. But that's pretty much it I have to say on the stitching and on base. It's pretty much standard things now. We get Mousepads, really good base, really good stitching. It's nothing that unique, but I love the branded embossed base and that they're trying to be unique in the space right now with all the different surfaces, artwork, price tag, stitching, and base. It's quite amazing. And that's pretty much it I have to say about this video and these products. Thank you for sending these out. I think they're going to be the next big company, so keep an eye on them. And this is a fantastic drop they did. And thank you for making this possible, and the community's gonna be happy on this new release. Thanks guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe, follow my Twitter for updates and future products I receive, and that's pretty much it. Thanks guys for watching. Peace.